Hello.
A Skyfall window. Hello. Ah. The science continues.
Science continue. What did we do? Let me turn down the swamp. What do we end up on last time? It was somewhere down here. Was it? It wasn't Arsenal Thresher, was it?
No, we ended on we didn't end on Imperial Outrider.
Maybe it was one of these. It wasn't Nasty End because that would have been funny. Well, all I can tell you is, you know what we didn't end on?
Was it Raid Bombardment?
It might have been Raid Bombardment, but Togo Goblin Weaponsmith. It's not Raid Bombardment.
No, instead it's Rocks.
Instead it's Rocks. Togo. So this is a commander card, as you can tell, because it has partner, one of the partner commanders.
This is part of the draftable commander set cards, where partner was kind of the setup to allow you to draft multicolor in a way that didn't force you to commit right away. Like, you'd be able to draft, like, Togo here, and then, like, maybe you'd find
like
red card or
some other commander with partner.
Yeah.
What were you remember any of them?
We have one on our list, actually.
Yeah.
It is it's like 2/3 down, Armix.
Armix Filigree Thrasher. I would never remember.
I drafted this format a couple times.
Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah, the guy who is not Raymond Swanland art.
Right.
Daniel Lundgren trying really hard to channel Raymond Swanland. But remember artifacts you control. Armix even kind of works with Togo.
That's why I remember the two.
Togo is a lot cooler than Armix, though, because
Togo has like a lot of good things going on with Togo. I adore our art of Togo, like holding up the rock.
He's holding the rock.
They've discovered fire. You know, like
I kind of wish that the rock were the focal point of the illustration rather than Togo.
Move us down a little bit,
yeah,
so that
like
rock is a little bit more centered.
Yeah, raise the point of view, angle it down, have the center of the frame be the rock. Because that's what Togo does. Is Togo makes rocks. When he invented rock. Isn't there? There's got to be flavor text that's just typing Togo. Is he?
Togo was a
yeah,
older...
back in the day. You know that wood burns even better than rock. I remember Goblin Clear Cutter. I'm remembering. Yeah, Shock is the famous one. I remember him saying nothing.
It's my best invention since the rock.
So
that's the.
Yeah, and what does rock do? Well, rock is shock. Except it's more expensive.
It's the same expense on the use case. You just have to equip it too. Want to see the rock token? Yeah, there's a rock token on the right too.
Rock.
Now, rock I think fits what you're looking for a little more with the art.
It's a nice cairn.
You know.
It's not bad at all. Togo's good though. He has a lot going for him. He makes artifacts.
He makes useful artifacts too, and it makes cheap, easy art. There's a lot of things that you can do with Togo that don't involve using the rock in any way like normal.
Yeah, I can't really imagine drafting an Armix and then after the draft being like, I'm going to make an Armix EDH deck. I can't imagine doing that just because he's so unexciting. I can imagine getting a Togo and being like, oh, what's a thing I can do with here? Is there any...
Yeah, and you take and especially with partner, you're like, oh, okay.
Is there any good partners?
Do I want to find a partner who can use the rocks? Do I want to find a partner who can landfall better? Do I want to find a partner that, there's directions, right?
Yeah. Is it Ramirez? No. Oh, there you go. Maybe a Glacian. Tap hard rack, and then you can do some kind of artifact stack.
Dude's rock and
it kind of makes it's kind of hard to look him up because some of these only partner with specific other cards, like this little shithead.
Yeah, Alphino, who
we're not talking about him. We're talking about Togo.
Alphino will get on the list someday as a printed Magic card. But yeah, no, Togo I think is one of the best of our designs, especially in this set where it's a lot of the designs that are in a lot of the later Commander stuff are as you looked up, legends who are mentioned in flavor text.
Mm-hmm.
And it's oh, okay, this is one that it's oh, okay, yeah, I both get what you're doing, and you've made an interesting card.
Yeah, I like Togo. Togo's pretty good. And he's a Grey Ogre, which means we can immediately compare him to Grizzly Bears, who is right here.
Yeah.
We got to go up a bit. I like Togo better than Juggernaut.
Yeah, same here.
Here's about where I start getting questions. Is Togo better than Nest Invader?
Okay. I think we're getting into better position for where Togo lives. What's our top here? What's a card we know for certain is just gonna be better compared to Togo?
He's certainly worse than Flytrap. I like Rada better, but I have an affection for Rada.
Yeah, understandable. Rada's very cool.
I played a lot of... I can't even spell it. That one I don't mind spelling right, but I had this particular... I like this. I opened this rare back in the day. I like...
Yeah, this was actually one of the first EDH decks I built. I built Rada. I brought Rada to the table, played a turn 4 or 5 Sundering Titan, and everyone got really mad at me, and I was like, but it's what do you mean? And it's it's not a ban card.
I'm trying to win,
legal.
right?
And then it's oh, I think I understand what I should be doing in here. I say aloud, building Grand Arbiter Augustine as my second deck. Took me a couple shots to get a better feel for what I was doing, but point being, I understand the
the affections.
Yes.
You don't have to make a stinky elf or stinky warrior deck. Just cast big spells.
Okay, where are we looking around Pristine Skywise? That's because Pristine Skywise is that
here's a better
Pristine
one.
Angel
Gilgamesh. How does Togo compare to Gilgamesh? They're both equipment commander cards.
Thinking about if you could partner with Gilgamesh and just throw around a bunch of rocks.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
This is far from the strongest of rocks. I think
close.
I think I like Togo better than Gilgamesh. That's part of my competitive brain though, because Togo is a 3 mana commander rather than a 6 mana commander.
Right, Gilgamesh is a card that's going to come down Honestly, Gilgamesh to me feels like a card that's in the 99 of a equipment deck as one of its top end pieces, rather than the commander of an equipment deck, because the commander is going to be something more like one of the half dozen Boros equipment likers, you know.
Although he is, Gilgamesh does do something when he enters the battlefield, which it's generally good to have a commander that does something immediately. Like Togo, like you can play the land right after playing Togo and get the rock.
All right, you're hoping to be like maybe set up with a fetch or just like have something to do with tiny rocks. I think Gilgamesh slightly ekes out.
Okay, so you
Torgo in my mind, but I think I like more than Pristine Skywise.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I'm going to very.
Do we have new technology?
No, very specifically not doing the hints that I was given because I don't remember them.
We have new technology. It's not in use. Instead,
not in use.
Togo is here with the rock. Second G.
Yeah, I thought sometimes my keyboard ignores.
It might have been when you were tabbing over.
It might have been. Togo.
Oh, glad to find a card like Togo's a good card. Like I know that, like, you know what, 20th spot is like, wow, 20th, but that's like top 20 cards of all Magic.
Yeah,
like,
top 20 cards of all time. All time. Ordeal of Nylea. I never realized that the Nylea Ordealists had their hand underneath the eyelid of whatever this thing is. What is this thing?
Ooh. Is this a Cyclops? Are we...
No, it's got two eyes, I think. It's got...
Yeah, no.
You can't see the other eye, but...
No, that's a nose. Yeah, that's a nose on the left, I see. Okay.
Yeah, there's a nose, there's the ear. Some kind of... Okay, what constructs were there in Theros?
Yeah.
There were definitely
These
some.
are pretty rad.
What? Golem? Yeah, I remember these guys. I played Guardians of Meletis.
Guardian of Meletis. I'm thinking like more the like giants.
Yeah.
Like, just search like giant as a type. Like that's more.
He doesn't look like 100-hander ones. He doesn't really look like Silent Artisan either.
How about Arbor Colossus?
Is that an Arbor Colossus?
I'm just thinking how too rocky, maybe.
It's hard to tell because you don't really get a good sense of what Arbor Colossus looks like. Well.
Yeah. Well, this card's in Foundations. It's in I think it's in the secondary box thing. Yeah, 600 on its number. So, so this is a standard legal card.
This is a good card too. Most of the ordeals were pretty good, and Ordeal of Nylea was one of the better ones.
Yeah, because we had Draw on Thassa. We had Bolt, I think, on
Ordeal of Heliod.
On no, not on Heliod.
Or not Heliod, on Perforos.
On Perforos.
Erebos was one of the lesser ones. Heliod was... This card was better than it looked.
The color.
Yeah, because heroic. This was... Yeah, it didn't matter you were gaining 10 life. It mattered that you were triggering heroic. Perforos was a bolt, Ordeal was drawing, and Nylea was ramping. And ramping was good because of monstrous...
Nessian
Asp. I remembered it was Asp, but I was trying to remember the name of the actual card. We all called this card Mosler.
I've thought a ton about Mosler because Aether Drift, the most recent set in Standard before Tarkir, has a variation on this card. So I would just always be thinking about Mosler.
Plus,
it has a.
What was the 6-mana green creature in Theros?
Theros was Vulpine Goliath.
Vulpine Goliath. This thing ended a lot of games too. So just like being able to ramp up to monstrous your Nessian Asp or cast your Vulpine Goliath was very good.
You didn't have like green was very, very rare on its heroic triggers. There were like 2 I can think of.
This was the other way you did it.
Yeah, but like this card could like pair with those, and the payoff at the end was pretty good for it.
Some of the heroic cards in green were not very good, but
no, there were only two I can remember. One that made lands active, and one that was like +3/+3 on its heroic trigger.
Yeah, and there was like
usually it was you were trying to do like turn one. I don't know. Favorite Hoplite was the obvious one you wanted on turn one, but you know.
Okay, now you give me my search. Yeah, Anthusa.
Yes.
This card kind of sucked.
Yeah.
This card I think was Born to the Gods. No, it was Source Beyond Death. Okay.
Yeah. There's another heroic buddy, the Oathsworn.
Oathsworn
On the left.
This was Born to the Gods.
This was Born of the Gods. Yeah.
Even he was not very good. This card though was a pretty good. Well, that was Beyond Death. They bleed together. They're basically.
I know.
The same.
I tend to forget like Theros Beyond Death is its own unique thing because it didn't have a lot going on, story-wise, to differentiate it in my mind. So then it's just more Theros cards. I don't know. I think this is like middle of the road on the ordeals. It has the highest like interactive point with the 1/1 counters, but like doesn't have like the same heroic trigger interactions that the Heliod or Porphyros ones do.
Yes. Or even the blue one. There were some very good blue heroic cards.
Yeah, the 2/2 that had like +1/+1 counter scry one or something like that on it.
And there was one that was like unblockable.
Yeah. It was search heroic. Yeah, there you go.
Although back in the day it would have said can't be blocked. This was before
yeah, that probably doesn't grab up
Artisan Forms. I'll know it when I see it. This guy, our Wave Crash Triton was one. Yeah, this guy.
Wave Crash.
And then Triton Fortune Hunter was another
Triton
one.
Fortune Hunter was one of the ones that like was really good to get going on.
But this guy, Theros wasn't a great blocking format anyways. Although it was if you had specific guys. If you were in blue-black, you were great at blocking, but...
Yeah, it was still hard because like heroic bodies made it, and like combat tricks just every color in this format had a 1 mana trick, right?
What was Protection Scry one?
God's
Willing.
God's Willing. God's Willing.
This card might get played in Pioneer still. I mean, like the Feather decks. What a beating.
Yeah.
But that's an Ordeal of Nihilea. How does Ordeal of Nihilea... Okay, how does it compare to Temple of Deceit? Probably worse.
Probably worse. I'm gonna go with worse.
Synth Eradicator.
So that's the energy buddy from Fallout.
This is Fallout pay 3 bolt thing.
Yeah.
It's better than Urza's Incubator. Ordeal of Nihilea is better than Urza's Incubator.
I was gonna say Mere Welder was the card I was looking at that was like where I'm around with this.
Mm-hmm. I think Mere Welder has a bit more going for it than Ordeal.
Yeah. But one of the big things with Ordeal is that you probably aren't caring about one half of this card.
Yeah, it's like you either want the counters and like this is free, or you want the lands and this is free.
Right, you're playing it in a deck with like you play a creature that is like 0/0 that comes in with 2 counters, so that you can attack, put the third, and immediately sack this or something like that, right? Like, but yeah, I like below Mere Welder, above Incubator.
That is about where we put it. If we said it was around there.
Yeah.
Ordeal of Nihilea, the 37th best card ever made. Which is gotta be better than Thopter Spy Network.
Ooh.
I don't think this is better than. I don't think that it's better than Thopter Spy Network.
I don't think it's better than Thopter Spy Network. So Thopter Spy Network.
This was an Origins card, so it was a pre-Kaladesh card. Or what do they call Kaladesh now? I forget.
A Vishkar.
A Vishkar. So, okay, when you say that, I think it's who's Football Man? Blood Arbiter.
Vishkal.
Vishkal Blood Arbiter. Sounds too similar to
Vishkar. A Vishkar.
Vishkar. Yeah, but very similar. But of course, me and you are maybe one of the few people who care about Vishkal Football Man.
Football. Vishkal's a classic. But yeah, so like this is like Origins had a couple of like. The thing with Origins as a set was having a bunch of different planes because we were focusing on planeswalkers, where they were from, and then the first place they went to, which gave us a couple places that were, like brand new Vryn here.
Although
with the big major rings.
Is that how you spell it? Yeah.
Yes, you got it right. I remember Vryn because Vryn's Prodigy, of course.
JVP, Mr. Flip himself.
Mm-hmm. The
Canadian threshold.
God, the card that invented formats. Just a card that had a huge price on its head. But the Chandra was our one of our other focus characters, and that led us to a number of like.
What was her flipwalker called? It was bad.
Chandra.
I just do like.
If you search Chandra,
or we'll accept this. Yeah.
Yeah, Fire of Kaladesh. Okay. Yeah.
Wasn't very good.
It, like, you had to have Chandra hit like 3 times, and that was either like get a Grey Ogre into combat and then untap and ping, or triple ping, which is double red spell. And then the backside was like.
Thanks for the subs, Senol, sir. That reminds me to open Sammy. Well, thank you, Windows. Thopter Spy Network.
Thopter Spy Network is cool for being like a combination Bitter Blossom Coastal Piracy.
Yeah, same one. This stupid card.
Yeah, Cat.
The Cat's the current version of this.
Ghost. Yeah, Cat is current. This one does not have Cat wording.
Yeah, it has to be.
Not just that, it's also a 1 or more.
Yeah.
1 or more. Yeah, the 1 or more restriction means you're only getting 1 card off of it. On hit.
But still.
But that's made up for by. You have a Bitter Blossom? I know it costs 4, so it's not like, wow, you didn't get down on 2, but the condition of controlling an artifact is, I'm gonna say free.
Pretty free. Like, yeah, it's gonna be. The Thopters are. It's going to work.
The Thopters artifacts, yeah.
Yeah, this was a real house in limited.
Yeah.
It seems a bit dirtly for Commander, but if that's your style of Commander play group where you are dirtly, then maybe.
I could see it if you care about that second line more, and then the top line is maybe a little bit more bonus, where you're just using it as like a little bit of a draw engine that also gives you continuous bodies. Yeah, that's exactly a good, like, you know, if you're building a deck around Saya, you're building a deck around Urza, or you're building a deck around some of the more, hell, you're building a deck around Torgo.
Torgo, yeah, your Torgo, that Power Stone guy who's Torgo's friend. You can
yeah.
Well, it says combat damage, sadly. It'd be pretty good if it just said if you have 1 or more Well, combat damage means that that was their way of having it only happen once per turn. This was
You're beautiful.
Thank you for the for the gift stuff to Wolf Cow Buddy cart. I think that's the first gift step one that alert we've had play.
Uncle Phil, you got to kick that man's butt.
And of course, I had it set up just so that the area of Scryfall that the sub alert plays over makes the sub alert completely unreadable. But thank you everyone for the subs. Thank you, Jens. Yeah, so if you're doing that kind of thing, actually works kind of good with Psy, just because you can use the artifact every turn.
Yeah, and like you're also going to get like the evasive bodies matter, and this was like a fine.
This is a fair commander card.
Yeah,
This
is like it does some fair things.
It does some fair things.
Makes a 1/1, draws a card. It kind of smooths out like the engine pieces of the deck, right? Like, here's just a little bit more metal for you. Here's a little bit more card for you.
It does everything, and 4 mana doesn't matter that much in EDH because you have Soul Ring, which is still not a game changer somehow.
Everybody gets that one.
Everybody gets the one. That's how many points is Soul Ring in Canadian Highlander? How many points is it?
Yeah, they had a more recent discussion about Soul Ring, and they talked about like we could have set it up so that Soul Ring was like on the list of like busters, and then every deck like has access to like, okay, like you get one, and it kind of keeps you in that line. But it's like it's just simpler, especially with how we print decks, to just have Soul Ring be the card that is everybody's like one legal piece of power. You know what I mean? Like where it doesn't, because literally with I believe one exception, Soul Ring is in every precon that's ever been printed for Commander.
Yeah, and that's probably the actual thing, is they don't want your precon to have a game changer in it.
Yeah, like the precons are like almost expressly meant to be like the
tier 0.
Yeah, the baseline, right? In my mind, like showing up with a precon.
Although it's still very funny to me that Soul Ring is better than Chrome Mox and Mox Diamond in my mind. they're both on the list. Although one of my hobbies of late has been trying to come up with EDH decks that are bracket 1 that are completely unfair.
Trying to twist around the...
Yeah, like, Overt Floral Harm. It's an Orvar the All-Form deck.
The All-Form.
This deck isn't fair. Because of... Well, it gets around these decks get to squeak around being bracket 1 because they don't have 2-card combos. They just have very easy to assemble 3-card combos. Like Archaeomancer and Peregrine Drake.
And Ghostly Flicker.
And Ghostly Flicker, any number of those. Or what's the other one I made?
Does it have a Deadeye now? No, it doesn't have a Deadeye.
It does have a Deadeye Navigator in it. Final Faraway Orthotics. With the AR first to the locked point. See, these decks also, they don't play Soul Ring as a point. But, I mean, it has Gravecrawler and, where's he at? The little the 3 mana guy. Warren Soul Trader. Like, Warren Soul Trader and Gravecrawler by itself is just a 2-card combo that says pay infinite life. But if you combine it with AR, the first of Locked-Wayne, you win the game. So it's like, just put Soul Ring on the list.
I think from the perspective of it's been in every precon, I basically get it.
Yeah, I get it, but
you've done at this point 14 years of doing that. Like it's
certain cards have been in precons before.
This is one precon.
One precon that did this.
I was thinking about GTA earlier today.
Okay, I like it better than Voldaren Bloodcaster, Pristine Sky. How's it compared to Togo and Gilgamesh? How does Software Spy Network compare to Togo?
No, I think it's works well with Togo.
Does work well.
This is more like, again, I think of this card a little bit more like glue, and it's fine glue.
Yeah, this card isn't cool. This card is just reasonably powerful.
Right, it just is, you know? You're like, yeah, okay. I'll throw that, like around, yeah, this seems like a fine area for it.
Because Rada is definitely cooler than this card, but I don't know if it's better.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like Kitesail Larcenist. Kitesail Larcenist is powerful pound for pound, but like not strictly interesting. Which is a lot like what this is. Okay, how does this compare to Kitesail Larcenist, do you think? Does Kitesail Larcenist gain or lose points for being a pirate who flies a kite?
For being the one pirate, that one of many pirates who like to fly kites.
Yeah.
No, I think I like this more than Kitesail Larcenist.
Okay, more than Kitesail Larcenist. It's worse than Doomed Necromancer.
Yeah.
I think it's worse than Flytrap.
Yeah, I think so,
So
too.
it's somewhere in this.
Around Junji
is
where my gut is going.
Junji is cooler than Thopter Spy Network.
Yeah, I think I'd say below Junji.
Below Junji. Okay, then we're back to Rada.
Yeah, so now we're back to... we made it back to Rada again.
Okay, I gotta freaking look. DH, okay.
DH, right?
Could just typed in Air to Killed and that would have worked. We'll get the bad art Rada. Again, my heart wants to put this below Rada, even though this is probably a better card. A more usable card. Okay, maybe not better, but more usable card. This is a more usable card than Rada. Rada is even like specifically difficult to use, but that makes her interesting.
Rada becomes a question. You already know what the question is when you're looking at Thopter Spy Network.
Well, it does its own work. That's why it was so good in Origins. Is because
right in Origins, if you like the way you beat this in Origins is they played this and then you killed every artifact they played for the rest of the game.
And even that wasn't enough because they would they just got one every turn anyways.
Well, you had to keep them on 0 because you have to control an artifact, get the 1/1. So you simply need to kill every permanent they play for the rest of the game, and it's easy. I'm gonna say above Kitesail Larcenist and this below Rada.
Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And this is Thopter Spy Network. Yeah.
This card was just fighting this
Spy
was
Network,
unlimited was
it was impossible. You lost.
Yeah.
Put it on the list.
The set had like +1/+1 all your artifact creatures too. It was like an uncommon.
What was if I just put in Jace and then put in set Origins. Was this the set that had no. What was the deck that used this to mill you out?
Oh, tutelage.
Sphinx's two.
Yeah,
it was Sphinx's tutelage.
Yeah, because it has Jace in the flavor text. That's why you're thinking of. This is one of those cards with Jace, at the end of the.
So like, this was a very silly deck in standard where you Wait, no, it wasn't. Was this yeah, it was.
This is Origins
too. I was mixing this up for the very, very, very similar card.
Teferi.
Teferi's Tutelage, which also says when you draw a card, target opponent.
But this one comes with a free draw rather than on the enter rather than an activated ability.
Yeah. But you missed Togo, Goblin Weaponsmith, and I already forgot the other one. I guess I can just... Can I back into it? Ordeal of Nylea.
Ordeal of Nylea. Yeah.
Okay, let's... You know what else was a limited bomb, though?
Yeah, I remember the limited bomb that was...
Critical hit.
Critical hit.
This card wasn't terrible.
Nah, you definitely were basically never doing that bottom bit that's flavor text on the card because it's called critical hit.
Yeah.
This is one of those dozens of double strike combat tricks.
What was...
This was in a world where red was
really powerful.
Hobgoblin
yes. Captain and Battlecry Goblin. These things were a house.
So, Adventures of the Forgotten Realms. You can have a lot of ideas of like what a limited format looks like: an aggressive limited format, a slower limited format, an evasive limited format, a board stally limited format, a controlling limited format. The limited format that was AFR, Adventures of the Forgotten Realms, was to the point of like it was hyperly overdrafted to this, like noticeably by the end of it, was like Rakdos aggro coming in hot. The pieces that it had, both in like stuff like Hobgoblin Captain and Battlecry Goblin, along with this was Deadly Dispute territory.
Deadly Dispute. So if you guys got blocked, you just sack them.
Well, or Threaten, which you like. There were a lot of good sack outlets to go with your threatens, including Deadly Dispute.
Nope,
I was thinking about Deadly Dispute because there was a
poor Dungeon Crawler. I got this. Feigned Death. Riff and Feeblement. Shambling Ghast. Guys to go with your Deadly Dispute.
Yeah, you just had a lot of like powerful tools for a long-term aggressive like for an aggressive deck that was like both like quite aggressive. Like it's Sepulchre Ghoul there also. We talked about this being like a rarity. That one has a free sack outlet. Its restriction is once per turn rather than mana cost. Yeah.
Oh, and a stab wound.
Oh god, you're right. The stab wound that put you in the dungeon. Skullport Merchant, another sack outlet.
Ebon Death. Yeah, there was just lots of.
Yeah.
But this wasn't that.
No, Critical Hit was in this format where like Rakdos and stuff is real, and this is not a card that like wasn't a good combat trick. This mostly exists for its name and text, right?
Yeah, like this is a top-down card.
Yeah, and I can respect it for that.
The card has to exist. Make it like this. Put it at uncommon so it doesn't show up very often, and then you're done.
This is exactly what it says on the tin. What does a critical hit do? It does double damage. How could we fit it into the dice rolling stuff we have in the set? Sure. Yeah. we in any format that's outside of limited, this is well outside of the power band. If you're looking at 2-mana tricks that double strike, Teamer Battle Rage is the top of that.
TBR.
Top of that band, and this lives at like middle to bottom. But it's still, it is a functioning combat trick.
Where's type up here? Type line instant. We'll see that.
Yep, this is Boros Charm's one of 3 pieces of text on Boros Charm.
I remember getting work done with Psychotic Fury back in the day.
I'm thinking of the land Legion of Leadership that is this, but it's not, where it doubles its power, and it's also on a land.
Yeah, double
yeah,
target
like
creature
Raking
and it gains for, that's so weird. Raking Claws,
That's
this one was a cycling one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
TDR, yeah, but this card's fine.
Yeah. I respect it for being like a flavored design, if nothing else. Probably nothing else, but you know.
How does it compare to Wall of Mulch? Because that's like a round where my brain went.
That's a nice spot to look around. I think on the flavor side, the critical hit is a little better, but the Wall Mulch is like
a better card. Yeah, I think Wall of Mulch is better than critical hit. Doomscar is here for vibe reasons.
Yeah, wait, Doomscar, and Path of Peril, just kind of live here. That's where they live.
That's where they live. I liked Path of Peril better, but we decided that the vibes on Cleave were bad.
Basically.
Okay,
how about Battle Mastery? Yeah,
it's worse than Battle Mastery, I think.
I think so. I think it's close.
Yeah, it's close. Give me the lower one.
But
Street.
you.
Okay, how about Scream Reach Brawler?
There's so many cards in here that are just like, okay, hold on. Well, I think we might have found a nice spot for it in the sense that I see critical hit and I go, oh yeah, that's critical hit. And I see Scream Reach Brawler, and I go, I feel nothing. I don't. It doesn't evoke anything.
Okay, I think it's between Spark Reaper and Goblin Artisan.
Okay.
Because Goblin Artisans is bad. Like, this is just a card that you shouldn't play.
But it's also very funny.
Yeah. Whereas Spark Reaper is like a 23rd.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like slightly below 23rd.
That's makes it 24th, but it's there on the list.
You could do worse than critical hit, and you do worse by being Goblin Artisans.
I think we can do better.
I think we could do better than Goblin Artisans. Natural selection. Oh yeah! Look at this Mark Pool art.
Oh boy!
This guy is selecting this peach.
Like I absolutely love our art here of our bird tiger striped
bird tiger man.
Yeah, pondering. They are pondering. That is the first part of Ponder's text.
Yep, this is the first part of Ponder's text.
And then it ends. You know?
Actually, it's
it can target opponent.
Yeah,
though.
so really
yeah.
Not this portent. Here we go. This fucking portent.
I mean, is it? Yeah.
It's
So it's portent.
It's portent without the cantrip text. And it's an instant. This is an instant. A green instant for if you were playing green instants in this era.
Alpha.
In Alpha. Right?
This is a card from Alpha.
That's
a card with very few prints.
Mm-hmm. It's because this is a reserved list card, Jens.
Yeah. It's a card with very few prints. Natural selection. If you want an actual copy of this card, the collector's edition isn't. Those aren't.
Yeah, these are
the different backs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want a playable version of this card, you're paying $75 for the
Yeah, the white bordered unlimited. Well, what do we think about natural selection? It's worse than portent or like
I gotta.
Miri's guile.
I have just like an active level of respect for any card that exists in alpha,
Yes.
regardless of like just like because the alpha design is the most Wild West anything could possibly be.
Yeah, it was just like, this is what cards do. Why green does this because it's natural selection.
Right. We have the name. We have the idea. We are selecting between. Is that a rope? Are we like pulling on?
That's like he's like pulling on or supporting himself with a rope. It could also be a carved staff.
That was what I was wondering too, because that could be a stave, like where we're standing holding,
And
this wooden stave, and we're pondering.
no, I this shading here looks like the butt part of a peach,
Yeah,
but this could also just be an orb.
It could just be an orb, but you said peach, and I see it. I see the slight, you know,
like the dark part. There's like a shading glint, but there's also a shading glint here. Like I think this is the actual light source. I think this is the butt part of a peach. And yes, the tiger has the tiger has human nipples because this is a human bird tiger. A bit more of a nectarine, yeah, except it's huge. Well, peaches aren't that big either. Or maybe this guy's really small.
We don't have a skill bird. We just have the bird.
Yeah, we just have we don't know how big this guy. Maybe he's just holding a peach or a nectarine, and he's just this size. Like that make this like about scale to an eagle's head.
Okay. Eagle sized, eagle.
How's this compared to Urza's incubators? What I think I start with. Maybe start with the old and jank cards.
Sure. My initial gut is above. That's maybe that might be too much. Well, where are we around in here? We got
Ordeal of Annihilia, Renewed Faith, Stoke the Flames, Myr Welder, Nasty.
How's this look?
I think I have more love in my heart for Stoke the Flames than Natural Selection, but that's me. I don't know if that's true.
I think that's close. The card itself, the actual effect of this.
Yeah, the card's not very good, but
no,
we have to take the holistic package of everything this card is.
Yeah, the person that we if we gave Doomscar down at the bottom for vibes, this can go well above it also for vibes. Yeah, how do you feel about it around like Stoke the Flames then? Around like that area? I know I said around above Urza's Incubator. I'm willing to shift around here.
Okay. I
don't know if
I'm not willing to put Natural Selection above Myr Welder.
Nah.
See, it's weird. I like Ordeal of Annihilia is better than Urza's Incubator, but Natural Selection is better than Ordeal of Annihilia, but worse than Urza's Incubator. Worse than
yes, yeah.
I like Urza's Incubator better, but I'm not going to put Natural Selection below Ordeal of Annihilia. We're in a weird spot here. Maybe we just put it above Renewed Faith and call it a day or something.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Like, I totally get it. It's
I changed the size. Maybe just 100. Yeah, 100 is what we want.
Yeah. I totally get it. Like, we have a lot of cards, and there aren't always clean. This is better on this axis, and we gotta.
We have to convert rock paper scissors into binary. Like we have to make this linear when it's non-linear. And that is our burden as the deciders of the ranking of every Magic card ever printed.
Mm-hmm.
Also illustrated by Mark Poole is Overflowing Basin. Not true.
No. A lot of respect for finishing this cycle.
Yeah. This is, these were the Signet lands, as they've come to be known.
Which is hilarious, seeing as
the signets were made after, yeah. Actually, these might have been called filter lands back in the day, before... Because when you think of...
They were, but Graven Cairns is the filter land cycle.
Yeah, filter land cycle is... this became filter land, starting with Graven Cairns in Future Sight, but I think everybody agrees that Mystic Gate is the one that counts.
I would accept the blue-black one as well if you were gonna...
see, I can't remember. I remember Graven Cairns because it's from Future Sight and has awesome art, and I remember Mystic Gate because...
Actually, no, sorry. Cascade Bluffs?
Cascade Bluffs, that's one. What is the blue-black one called?
Sunken Ruins.
Sunken Ruins. Yeah.
Yeah. These are all, like...
They're all pretty good lands.
But yeah, so pulling these up is an important point of comparison because they have a feature that Overflowing Basin and Friends do not, which is tapping for colorless.
Yeah, these things don't tap for mana unless you have another mana.
These things in when they were printed in Odyssey were really awkward to work with because, like, if you include 4 copies of Sungrass Prairie in your deck, you want to fix for blue for Celestia for green white. Thank you for pulling up that Ron Spencer one. Oh, I like this.
I like this, yeah.
But like, so if you put 4 of these in your deck that's trying to cast Mystic Enforcer, let's go. And then you open 2 of them as your only lands in the opener. Can you keep?
Hard to say. I think these get played in pre-modern. Speaking of, Mystic Enforcer.
That wouldn't. I thought exactly of Mystic Enforcer because but the reason. So we never completed that cycle because for constructed formats, these have some like really awkward and not fun drawbacks to them where they cause their own, like, the drawback on, like, playing a pain land, if you draw a couple pains, is you take a few extra damage. The drawback on drawing multiple of Sungrass Prairie is you lose and you feel awful for your choices. Like, you immediately want to cut every copy of this from your deck the first time this happened. Now, so we didn't print the second half of the cycle. We just dropped that as a dual land. However, EDH exists
and
nowadays.
You want to have as many. You want to have as many different. Like, you can only have one. It's a singleton format, and you might be playing a deck that has like more than 30 lands in it if you're playing like a lot of lands.
Yeah, like I would expect. Like I still think of like 36 in my mind as like a line. It's more arbitrary. There's a lot more that goes into that math, but the big thing there is that if you're playing even just a 2-color deck or a 3-color deck, fishing for powerful lands that fix your mana and come in untapped.
Yes, because you can play any number of tap lands you want. They've made so many of these things.
I think you could fill out a mana base with 24 of these if you wanted.
Yeah, EDH
commander is 100 cards.
100 cards, so you have 99 plus your commander is your 100, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
So if you're playing 36 or more lands, you're very quickly going to run, like, you can only play so many fetch shocks if you have the money to, and if you don't have the money to, then you can only play so many temples and tap lands.
So these operate as a, if you're just playing one of them, if I'm playing a Simic deck that just has Overflowing Basin in it as a one of, it is a lot safer. Yeah. Because you can't draw multiples. You might not want to build a deck that's 3-color that contains all, like 3 Signet lands. You'll run into the same issue.
You'll very rarely, I think, because like if you're playing 3 of them, that's 3 out of 99 versus the 4 out of 60 that it was before. So like, the risk still exists, but also mulligan rules for commander are a lot more lax.
Yeah.
So,
but like the reason these got printed in Fallout is because they were they make sense in a
they're untapped lands for commander that are reasonably powerful, but because of their drawback, they're always going to be under a quarter. So
because nobody's playing these in anything else.
Yeah, these are just for commander. I mean, they're cool lands. They're probably pretty good in limited. And pre-modern is a format that not officially supported. So
yeah, pre-modern, a format that, as its namesake may suggest, is cards pre-modern, the modern card frame format. So it is a closed format. Things don't get added into it.
Yeah, it is a format that will eventually get solved because it's never going to change. And basically, pre-modern is man, this page really wants to lock up. I don't know why. Only old bordered cards, but not old school. Like it's not. It's fourth. It's not 93-94, which is a different format. So it's fourth edition
like
through Scourge.
Yeah, like Ice Age era forward to Scourge.
And then the ban list is basically anything that's good in Legacy, so that pre-modern isn't just Legacy Light. And it's an interesting format, but again, it is going to get solved, and like every format, it has some very annoying decks in it. And because it doesn't encourage you to buy cards, it's never going to get supported. Because all...
Yeah, the fixing in there is Pains.
Pains, half fetches, and a lot of decks play City of Brass.
I was gonna say City of Brass? Yeah.
Although it does have a workable stasis deck that plays
Forsaken
City.
Oh boy.
The card that makes stasis work.
At the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile a card from your hand. Untap this.
The stasis lock. Anyways, that's
This was 5th edition. But yeah, I respect coming back to these, and also you can see immediately we printed them in Fallout, and look at how many times we've used them already.
Yeah, they have Bloomburrow, Duskmoor, and Aether Drift, Commander, the list.
They even go further. If you go to all prints, there's one of these in at the top left that's in the FF10 deck.
It's not coming out yet. It's yeah. It's the dead people fairies, the pyre flies. It's overflowing with corpses. Right. I remember this scene. What a stupid game. I think about Final Fantasy X all the time. It's so frustrating. Because it's... how do these compare to Temples? Is where I'm immediately going to.
Okay, that's a good starting point, right?
I did it again. Deceived. I've been deceived. So you have reasonably okay tap land versus untapped land with drawbacks, and they're both around 20 cents.
Yeah, these are if you're starting a mana base.
Oh, I am sorry. Final Fantasy X is not gay at all. You are inserting your desires into that game. It is a weird, sexless universe with weird, horny, Fifth Element fashion. And it's so close to being so good in every way. And it has one of the best combat systems of any Final Fantasy. And it gets so close, and it doesn't get there. It's so frustrating.
You've been deceived.
I'm being made to think about Final Fantasy X by Overflowing Basin. Temple of Deceits versus Overflowing Basin. I kind of like... If this were the Prairie, I would easily like it more than Temples. But just because I'm one of the world's biggest Odyssey heads, Like, Odyssey is my favorite set. So I have a connection to it. But this is not from Odyssey. Although it basically is.
10-2 is less road trip, more gay.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because the thing about these is they're untapped lands, but they can't be your first land. And these...
Yeah, and these can be, but won't do anything on that.
Really, they work well together. You, like, turn one temple into turn two signet land.
And,
yeah. Like, you do that, you got your Sultai mana right away. Well, not really.
Sort of, kind of.
Sort of, kind of. I don't know. I think I like them better than temples, but not a whole lot better.
Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe around. Do we want them above Recruiter of the Guard?
I would just put it like directly above the temple.
Directly above.
Like, what do you think of? Like,
sure.
What do you want to go to bat for Boldaran Bloodcaster? Because we can have it be sandwiched between lands.
I kind of want to have it be sandwiched between. I kind of want to have the Boldaran Bloodcaster.
Let's make a vampire sandwich.
A little bit.
Yep.
Put it in the overflowing basin. But yeah, you can see immediately that these are just, they've been used like 5 precons immediately at Aetherdrift, Duskborn, Bloomburrow.
And
like,
these ones
and
also have a long history of it.
Yep. So.
Okay. But what's more exciting than a land from Fallout?
I think we can find something.
Boomerang!
Oh!
We even got this. We got the special Black Border 7th edition foil boomerang by Rebecca Guay.
From whence you came.
Ah, here we go. Boomerang.
Oof. Boomerang is, for one, it's a historical card. You can see we're looking at a card from 7th edition, but this goes back, even further. This goes back
to looks like Legends. So I remembered this art, but I didn't know if that was what Legends or Chronicles where it came from, even though it's basically the same.
It's the same, yeah.
And I often think of the Richard Kane Ferguson art.
Yeah. God, what a card with Richard Kane Ferguson and like
everybody.
The on the, who.
And then, of course, you tend to... This card rarely appears now, and they have the silly dragon.
Yeah.
You didn't get this guy 8th edition guy wasn't around very much. He's kind of cool.
What's our most recent one?
It's 9th edition.
No, we have a DCI promo above that.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, the DCI promo is just... Well, the list has the boomerang, and then Magic Online promos. Salvat. Duels of the Planeswalkers. 10th
edition.
Okay, so like Duels of the Planeswalkers or
10th. Masters edition is just online.
Yeah.
So we stopped printing those.
Yeah, for a specific reason.
Yes, and you might think, okay, like we've moved over the last 15 years. Like we've moved away from this says non-land and costs blue 1, right? We have 1,000 different variations on that exact text. We have unsummon with upside, or we have not repulse. I don't remember the like just generic name for this one, but like we have this card a lot.
Usually it has some kind of rider on it that is in the set mechanic. Is this really the only? This can't
go
be
for
the
non-land permanent instead of creature.
Yeah,
you would creature instead of non-land permanent.
If I just remove creature.
If you just remove creature. Yeah, I think that'll get you a lot.
Whoa.
There must be a.
Was it owners? Was it owners specifically? Because this one does have ownerses.
Oh, that might be
return
owners. Yeah.
Oracle creature. I just then did like Oracle Owner. Dower, yeah, brackish blunder, this style of thing. Return target creature to its owner's hand. If it's tapped, make a map token.
Yeah, rebuff out of the newest set.
This costs 1 less to control if you control an artifact creature. Harmonize.
So these are the... We have our... Disperse, thank you, Miss
Disperse.
That's the... So disperse is the, like, generic... Disperse.
Disperse.
This is like the genericized version of this these days, where it's 1 blue for non-land permanent versus permanent. And, like, it is easy to think, like, well, that's, like, not enough. Is that enough of a distinction to, like, merit it?
And the answer is yes, because the way Boomerang works is, okay, I go, planes go, I go, okay, island go, and then you play your thing, and then I go, okay, island, Boomerang, your land. And then you go, okay, play my land, Boomerang, your land again. And then,
yeah, even worse if it was your opponent going island, you know, start, and then you go like, you know, yeah.
Ooh, aqueduct.
Ooh, aqueduct.
I spelled it wrong, but it gave me the.
But yeah, the Boomerang is still like what I think of as this card.
Yeah.
Even though this is decades from being printed, it's still, you know, is this. But we moved away from this because we did invent multiple decks that plan was turn 2 bounce your land, turn 3 bounce your land, turn 4 bounce your land.
And also
and I think there's a reasonable like question of if Stone Rain as a mechanic, as a literal card should exist. You know? Like do we want to allow like land destruction at 3 mana without something else going on? And I don't think Sinkhole gets the same consideration.
Yeah, Sinkhole just probably shouldn't exist. Although speaking of Stone Rain, very, very funny. Very recently, Stone Rain played in modern sideboards, not Pillage. Which is
Stone Rain, the card named Stone Rain.
Yeah, Stone Rain, because Pillage is in Modern Horizons.
Yeah,
this is a card you can play. Yeah, Stone Rain.
Not Molten Rain?
Not Molten Rain. Stone Rain. Because if you're an Eldrazi deck, sideboarding for other Eldrazi decks, double red is hard to do. But single red? Maybe that's easy. You're playing like...
Oh my god.
So, I don't think they're doing it anymore, but there was a brief window
That's
where,
hilarious.
Stone Rain saw modern play as a card.
Like, when I was introduced to the game of Magic, Molten Rain and Stone Rain and Boomerang and Eye of Nowhere.
Yeah, Eye of Nowhere was actually better.
Eye of Nowhere, like, yeah, because like Magnafor or the Owling Mine nonsense, but like Boomerang is still, even with the like land bit on it, I still think it's like a pretty perfect distillation of like bounce spell in my mind.
Yeah,
like, I think of Boomerang when I think of a bounce spell. It's still the whoop, especially like, you know, it's the name feels fitting to me.
It's still like a verb you would use, like
yeah,
Boomerang, Boomerang your guy. Like that's something you'll just say.
It returns.
It returns.
It's
also worth saying the card's just like pretty good. Like nostalgia aside, this effect for this mana cost, like we get disperse with upsides.
Yeah, we tend to get like.
But even like the card disperse itself is like a reasonable card. This is a card that like.
It is a good disruptive element. It can. This is also Boomerang gives us like almost the definition of a tempo play, right?
Yeah, and it's also like a definition of a thing that Blue got that they would continue getting forever. Like
playing Dragons of playing Dragonstorm Tarkir a couple days back. Our deck contained a couple different like bounce spells that were important to dealing with problems.
That's got to be a card. Is there a card just called Bounce?
So there's Waterfront Bouncer. And
yeah, that's probably where the
Waterfront
word
Bouncer
comes from.
Yeah, that's where the word bounce comes from. If we're talking about bouncing,
they've done this
Waterfront
now
Bouncer.
where they've made
Oh boy,
bouncers. They bounce you.
Yeah.
This guy is a recent guy, the big fish bouncer.
God, this was such a good one.
This guy's bullshit.
See, Waterfront Bouncer was.
How is that guy a merfolk?
Look at how beefy this giant. Like this is the most muscle.
Look at his legs.
Legs, yeah. This is a merfolk. You know.
Yeah, well, that's
also, that guy's a 1/1. You pull up Mercadian masks. Merfolk?
Yeah, what were merfolk and Mercadian masks look like? Like this? I remember darting merfolk.
Yeah, but what about the most buff dude you've ever seen?
Okay, I guess Saprazan Bailiff. She's a merfolk, or they're a merfolk. It's Saprazan Air. I guess there's like, wait, no. This is a Saprazan. But also, this is a Saprazan. And this guy is a Saprazan. Okay, maybe there's just a lot of... if you live under the water, you get scales. If you live up on land, you just are a blue guy. That's... Oh, those are ceremonial legs. Okay, that makes sense. We're getting sidetracked by looking at weird
Boomerang.
Boomerang.
I think Boomerang's pretty dang high on the list.
Is Boomerang better than Spore Frog? I think so.
My gut is yes.
Yeah.
I think
I'm not willing to put.
Yes.
I'm not willing to put Boomerang above Mountain, but I'm going to put it above Spore Frog. Like, I think that's just it.
Yeah, I think like that. That's a pretty immediate answer. I don't think I would say the same about Unsummon, but Boomerang specifically lives in a world that
Unsummon's not as cool.
No, Unsummon also has like the long tail. This is a card that exists from literally forever.
Alpha,
but
return creature
enchantments
to
on
his hand. Creature
are carded.
Creature are carded. Is that a misprint? Did Alpha Unsummon get, or was that just like a way they put discarded back then?
I think that is a specific printing bit too. Does that have a little note down there for the, like, yeah, Alpha Unsummon said carded instead of discarded.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like what's his name? Famous guy who is green, but is a
Serendib.
Serendib. Ifrit. I think it's an Ifrit, not this guy.
Yeah, you got it.
Because green effects.
Green Ifrit.
So like maybe was it a mistake, or was it like this where they
it got corrected in beta, so I think it was a mistake that they weren't able to correct in alpha.
Yeah, it was the Wild West.
Good to find a card that just immediately like I don't think I can say with any certainty that this is better than Mountain.
If I'm being honest with myself, it's below Avenger. But it's definitely better than Spore Frog, and we already know Spore Frog is better than Avenger.
Yeah,
cards that aren't better than Spore Frog, though.
No.
This
Ace.
Doctor Who character.
So, Ace is a character from the 7th Doctor era of Doctor Who. We just recently watched a set of episodes with her. She is from our, like, 80s era of Doctor Who, but is, like, kind of like a radical anarchist. That star patch is cowardice because it doesn't actually have the hammer and sickle that is on her patch in the show.
They didn't want to put communist propaganda in this Magic the Gathering card.
When they were willing to do that on British television in the 80s. But yeah,
I guess I should read this card. 4 mana 2/2, human rebel. There can't be that many green rebels, can there?
No, I would guess that's a single-digit number, and that single digit might be ace. Like, like that. Like, we're not obviously not counting
Chameleon Colossus, but Sky Shroud Poacher.
Sky Shroud Poacher.
Search your library for an elf card and put it into play.
It's okay, they're just elves.
They're just elves. Mog Catcher, you are not. But,
mercenary.
Yeah, how come you're a mercenary? You're a rebel? I thought the rebels were good guys and they're enslaving elves, whereas the bad guys are enslaving goblins? Makes no sense.
But yeah, second artifact, if you do, put a 1/1 counter on ace and it fights a creature.
Yeah, okay. And you can have 2 companions if the other is the doctor.
Yep. So this is a card in the Doctor Who Commander decks, designed more about the, like, flavor of her bonking a Dalek on the head.
Was that like her most famous scene? Her hitting a Dalek with a... Would that even do anything? Like, I don't think the Dalek would give a shit if you hit it with a baseball.
It's a cool baseball bat. We made it a cool baseball bat.
We made it cool.
But yes, we're in a schoolhouse and there's some Daleks running around and she like jumps through a window and then bonks one in the eye there.
You know, they spared no expense on this background.
Too busy not putting the hammer and sickle on
they
there.
They put more effort than Serendipity did with if Ifrit, is that if biff?
That is if Ifrit is what that art is.
And more effort put into the background for Sky Shroud Poacher, the other green rebel, than Ace Fearless Rebel. I don't know.
Yeah, the card to me is not terribly.
It's a 4 mana 2/2 that you have to both attack and sacrifice an artifact to do its thing.
And its thing is fighting, which is like.
I guess that's fine, but it's going to get damage on it and then go into combat.
Yes.
So it's probably going to trade after you do that for your 4 mana commander.
Yeah, this honestly is more likely to be a commander so that you can either be playing a deck that's like a fun, like, I'm building a specific deck with Ace and a Doctor, and Ace gives us another color because that's one of the things that you get.
We can look up incarnations of the Time Lord.
Yeah.
Which one was this was the 7th Doctor you said?
This was the 7th.
Yeah.
Has basically nothing to do with the 7th Doctor's ability, which is a little guessing mini game about mana cost of a card in your hand.
If I had to guess, I'm going to guess that most of the Doctor Who cards are very top down.
Yes. So, yeah. That these cards are designed for you to there are a number of fun hey, this is a great thing to build around as the War Doctor down there actually does some pretty nifty stuff you can mechanically work with. The flipping around time counters and such. But a lot of these cards are more top-down designs. So anyway, I like Ace more as a character than I do as a Magic card.
How does she compare to Critical Hit? That's another top-down card.
How does she compare to Gandalf? Which Gandalf was that one?
Westward Avoid. I think this one, it's a Gandalf card, so it probably has a shitload of text on it.
It probably has a shitload of text. Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is the one that I just stopped. Okay. At the very least, I think I like Ace more than Gandalf because my eyes don't glaze over, so that's good.
We'll put it above Gandalf and below Goblin Artisans.
Oh, God,
Goblin Artisans is at least a goblin that is cute. This card, if you like, I'm sorry, if you're an Ace fan, I'm sorry, but this card isn't cute. This
card honestly might deserve to go much lower than this, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah, but we don't like Gandalf. I mean, we could move Gandalf if we wanted to. We could move Gandalf down by Colossal Plow. Okay, how does Ace compare to Karen Brinkcarver?
I think better than Karen Brinkcarver.
See, well, no comment.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, this is this rebel. Okay, so this is going to be like the top-down bad commander card zone.
I think we'll find ones that are better or worse than this. This is not.
They didn't even make it Kami. You know what is Kami, though?
What is Kami?
Strict Serenade.
Okay. Ooh, this is the opposite of Swan Song, right? This is
strike an artifact, creature, or planeswalker spell, make a bird. And Swan Song is like artifact, enchantment, or creature.
It's
into
I think it's the exact opposite. Yeah, it's like exact opposite targets.
Swan Song made sense. This really doesn't. Like a Strict Serenade. It doesn't even make when you think of the word Strix, I think of an owl that draws a card. This is or with Death Touch or something, but this card doesn't do any of those.
This is very much made as a direct opposite to our, I mean, the name is literally the same name. It's a direct callback to Swan Song, but
okay, here's why this card isn't as good as Swan Song, because one of the big things Swan Song does is really just these two. Swan Song has been played in degenerate combo decks as a cheap protection spell against counter magic.
The thing I like about Swan Song and what it does is that it turns something that usually is not board material into board material. Enchantment obviously is a permanent type, but a lot of times enchantments are not not always like bodies. They're like things that are like weird board building pieces or removal spells, and you turn the non-creature in, you transfigure it into the swan. Strict Serenade turns what usually is major board presence into
a bird,
minor board presence, which makes it
really like turning an artifact into, or turning a creature into a 2/2 is not really new either.
We call that Pong Fi. We call that
this kind of effect. Rapid hybridization.
We call that,
if you're a loser.
Raven form if you're
a Raven form if you're a cheater.
Yeah, if you're a cheater. I still think of this card as like just such a break for what it does, but yeah.
They've kind of stuck to this too. Have there been like recent cards that kind of do this?
They've tried not to. Usually, like with counterspells, you get to do that sort of thing because counterspells tend to be more format specific.
I remember there being a way to like,
because like Defabricate does like artifact things because it's from like an artifact set.
Yeah. I remember there being like a semi-recent way of like answering a permanent and play artifact, but who knows?
Yeah, like there's some grip tides, but grip tides sometimes will even say non. Like,
I'm kind of remembering like
I know what you're thinking of, and
so like the one like there's like the enchantments like turn things into a one with no abilities. I remember there being one of those that could also hit an artifact.
The rat in the top left, actually, the Beastbinder that turns that one turns artifact, creature, or planeswalker into a 2/2.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
okay. But
But
this thing.
I don't know. I value this just a lot less because it's more like a forward-facing Pongify, which isn't bad, mind you, but it doesn't have the uniqueness that
It is kind of cool turning like
Big
Grizzlebrand
Giant,
into a tutu, but this is like a Hydroblast at home style effect where you're winning the counter war on your degenerate combo turn, whereas this is.
I was gonna say, there is the side that is Swan Song fights for evil a lot more than Strict Serenade does, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and that makes me like Swan Song. I fight for evil.
Oh yeah, that's a truth rather than a moral judgment.
Okay, what about Hijack? Somewhere around there.
Hijack is like the threaten that like.
This is like a mediocre
car.
threaten. It can also target an artifact.
Yeah. What's above there? We have like Nevermaker. We've got
Armix, Nasty End, Daven Cloud Chaser.
Because I feel like it's better than Armix. Just because like.
Yeah, I kind of like Nevermaker more though.
Okay.
Nevermaker's kind of cool.
I think that finds us our spot then.
Yeah,
right?
so
Like
Strict,
right there in the...
Strict Serenade is better than Armix and worse than Nevermaker. All right.
Yeah, I think that's a spot because like because just I don't know Armix doesn't do anything for me, but I respect the owl.
Yeah, this is I wouldn't be embarrassed to either play or see this on the other side. Like, really, that is the role this card plays. If you try to make an EDH deck with, it's like if you want to make the Baral Chief of Compliance deck, whose gimmick is that you're playing every single playable counterspell there is, this might be on that list. It
also does the art we pulled up for it on the one that we did see. That was the
Mystic Owl.
Yeah.
You know what's not as mystic as Strict Serenade, though?
What is not?
It's going to be very, very funny if some specific cards from Odyssey show up. Is Wizard's Retort.
Okay, well, this actually might be just as mystic as Strict Serenade. This one's a card in a long line of cancel/counterspell, right? Like
cancels with upside. This one's upside is it costs one less if you control a wizard. I think both of us often think of this card when we think of the first one is
Dissipate, which is a much
older
Mirage card.
Yeah, Richard Kane Ferguson again.
Yep.
It's like this was around the time they decided we're gonna stop making counterspell as much and start making cancels with upside.
We kept counterspell proper for a while past this. It's in up through 7th ed. But we finally hit the line in Time Spiral. Time Spiral is when we print Cancel, the card named Cancel.
The actual card Cancel.
The printing of the card named Cancel is the point where we're saying counterspell is dead. But Cancel is too expensive.
Yeah, Cancel's too expensive, but counterspell is too cheap. So what do you do?
Like, what is it? Not metallic rebuke. What? There's a like a counter spell that's just like it's.
I just do this, and then like sort by EDH rank because that's usually what I do. Stoic Rebuttal.
That's the one I'm thinking of, Stoic Rebuttal, where you have Metalcraft. And you can see like the bargain on Ice Out more recently.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Lookout's Dispersal. I played this one. This one's actually good.
That one's actually good. Out of Air, which is counterspell that is 2 or 4.
Yeah, this is like a bad. This is not a cancel, but it's you're either playing Remove Soul or
Remove Soul.
You pay 2 more to counter anything.
But you can see how many of these there are, right? Like you can see that this is like we want a 3-mana spell, but we want a 2-mana spell. Wizard's Retort is one of the most like clean versions of this. Pretty easy to get with with like, you know, if I want to play this off of snaps or something,
Yeah,
it just
Snapcaster
becomes
Mage.
counterspell.
There's many with this spell used to be played in Modern before they put counterspell into Modern.
Yeah.
It has a few companions. Still played in there might be a Pioneer Wizards deck that plays the pair,
So-
and of course.
So these two cards, Wizard's Lightning and Wizard's
This one. Also, a wizard.
yep. Oh God, Flames of Anor is a messed up card. This one's incredible.
This card is not okay.
Like I like when Lord of the Rings as a set gets talked about, we talk about the One Ring, we talk about Bowmasters, we talk about Troll. We should probably talk about Flame of Anor more than it does. Like
the commander set for it also had Lingus.
Yeah.
Air Lingus is a legacy card. Hate this card.
But the Wizard's Lightning and Wizard's Retort are a paired card. You can see the art is matching there. They're calling back. This is a specific callback to Lightning Bolt Counterspell because they cost reduce to become Lightning Bolt Counterspell. And kind of show that those cards are really good because these still are really good.
Yeah, because you're willing to have a wizard in play to be able to play a counterspell. The existence of counterspell makes, of course, this card a little less exciting, as does Lightning Bolt does this. Because in most formats where you would play these, you can just play those cards.
You just have those cards, yeah.
Really, Pioneer is it. Because Pioneer doesn't have Lightning Bolt, Pioneer doesn't have counterspell. Does Pioneer even have Mono League?
No. I don't think so, no.
I remember there being like a drought of good counters in Pioneer.
Yeah, this as you saw, like you pulled up the EDH rec list. This one did show up pretty high on it.
Yeah,
it's the highest of all those.
I think all of these things are okay. This one's not that bad. How much do you think the tree one costs?
Great Henge, I think, is 70. I was looking at buying one a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had looked at. I was looking at buying this for my cube,
and
then I saw this and went, "Am I sure?"
It's the party tree. Wow.
Yeah, it was a party tree.
But I don't know if the books ever mentioned the party tree. It's more like a thing that you saw in the movies a few times. Is that where our wizards, fireworks go off?
Yeah,
it's where it's because this is Bilbo's birthday party. But
yeah, this is Bilbo's birthday party.
I don't know if the tree was ever. That's not textual. Wizards.
Oh no.
Wizards retorts.
Nope. It was textual.
It was.
Sorry. Yep.
Lord of
there's a note.
Party tree.
Yeah, there's a note about like J.R.R. Tolkien's inspiration for the party tree.
Tolkien Gateway.
Tree.
Yeah, it's the tree was the center of the party field south of Back End.
Yep.
Thank you. There we go. Oh, they cut down the party tree. It happens in the scouring of the sour.
It's the Sour and Shire. Yeah. That's where it comes up. Yeah. which isn't in the movies.
Which isn't in the movie. But very pointedly, the cards are not the movie. What do we think of?
I respect this for being like the most like kind of correct version of, maybe not most, it's the closest to a correct version of our like counterspell cancel, which I think has it like
somewhere around here. Like, okay, how do we feel? Like, how does it compare to like? I think it's below Temple.
Yeah,
because I kind of value a decent tap land more than a cancel with upside. But only because I think there are cancels with upside that I would put above. Like I might put Hinder above Temple.
Yeah, does this live here? Does this live like down in like
between these two?
Yeah, I could do that.
Because it's better than Juggernaut, but
it's certainly better than Juggernaut.
I don't think.
but,
I think
like,
pound for pound, Web Strike Elite is better.
Yeah, we can put it there. I think there's better counter spells that are the 3-mana counter.
Mm-hmm.
Hinder Bottom is a cool one, obviously. But,
Hinder Top is even better. But like Dissipates, there's a lot of good cancels.
Yeah. There's one that has like a modal, like is like a, I think it's from AFR that has like a frantic search on it as like a second mode.
Ah, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, pretty good one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
you know
it's pretty good.
You know what's a pretty good cancel is Shamil the Inner Sun.
Oh boy, this so this is a pretty cool card from Lost Caverns. This is just every end step, fixed Cascade 5.
Yeah.
I like this card for being very
Of course, it's a callback to this, I think.
yeah, it's 6-mana artifact.
From
I like this card for being like easy to like not very wordy. Obviously, Discover 5 is
Discover
a wordy
has
bit,
the
but, like,
secret wording on it, but it just does its thing.
It does one thing. I mean, it makes your things uncounterable, sure, but it does a thing, and the thing it does, like, that's effectively draw a card at the end of your turn. Because you can choose not to cast it and then put it in your hand, or you can cast it and go for it. This is I respect this design.
Right, this is the fact that it has a $40 commander version and then it's still like 15, 20 bucks. This shows you what this card is for. This is a big stupid artifact to trick into play and have fun with in your commander deck.
Yeah, or
it's perfect for that.
Yep.
It's less unfun than the Immortal Sun is, which is the same kind of effect.
Because, like, as I said, it works as sort of a draw too, because you can choose not to cascade and then draw, and that's one of the modes of Immortal Sun is you don't draw. Or you
all your stuff's better, and also you hose your opponent's planeswalkers, which I remember playing this card in Standard because there was a blue-white control deck that played planeswalkers and this thing, and it was kind of annoying.
Yes. I remember getting to play this at, like, it's almost stunning to see that this card has one reprint ever. Like, this feels like a card that's it. Like it
had some promos and it was in Commander Masters, and that's one of the reasons why it's still like got some price memory going on, because this is a powerful artifact to Commander out.
Yeah, and this one's a recent. This is still Standard from Lost Caverns within the last
Okay, there is a secret cost to this card in Commander. That line. You might have to it means every turn you might be shuffling between 1 and 30 cards and putting them on the bottom, which that does make your turns last longer.
6 at least. So Discover 5 means that you're not like tunnel visioning on one card to try to get off this.
Oh yeah, you're not the archaeologist. It's funny, they tried to make fixed Cascade, and there was immediately a degenerate combo deck that cascaded.
I was so like when they showed this off in Lost Caverns on stream, they talked about like this as fixed Cascade, and it's like, all right, so what's the fix? Well, if Cascade misses, you get to draw the card, and it's like that wasn't the part you needed to fix.
Like, not Daring Discovery. What was it? Was it Discover 5? I thought it was Discover 4.
You're looking for Discover 3 or Discover 5.
Because Carnosaur was...
Carnosaur...
Was it Discover 3?
You're looking for Discover 3 for
Geological Appraiser. This was the card that started your chain.
And you're looking for...
it was like Mirror Pool Mimic.
Mirror Pool Mimic to keep doing this. There was also the combo deck with our elephant buddy. The planeswalker who had like a minus.
Right, yeah, Quintorius.
Yes. Quint had a minus for Discover 4.
And there was
and so there were some decks that Like, if you
Not
go to
that good.
Geological Appraiser, you'll see a Geological Appraiser and a ban in Pioneer. So, like, this has an errata on MTGA and a ban in Pioneer.
It's very funny. They put this here to keep you from like flickering it, but it doesn't matter. It's like it's just
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, they made it cost 5.
Yeah, they made it cost 5.
But Shmuel the Inner Sun.
This is a more fair version of it.
Yeah. Like somewhere around here. It's more powerful than grizzly bears and stuff, but it's not as cool. I like it more than Synth Eradicator, but I was looking around like Mirror Welder. I mean, like Hour of Reckoning is like where it was.
I can do like above, like around, like up here. Yeah.
Okay,
like,
I can say with some confidence that I like Shmuel the Inner Sun less than Mon's Goblin Raiders.
Yeah, no, I'm good with putting it. I want to put it above Synth Eradicator in my mind.
Yeah, that's we'll put it there. I tell you, Mon's Goblin Raiders has to have won more games than Shmuel.
I think
the
if I
Inner
played,
Sun.
I think if I played more like modern Commander, I might have a little more heavy opinion of this. But like, I don't know. Again, my respect for this comes from like it being a kind of clean card. Like it's just like you see it and you immediately see what it does.
I mean, the card doesn't do its thing right away, and one of the most played cards in Commander is this. Yeah. So I mean,
but it doesn't wait till upkeep. It doesn't end step, right? So like that's the part that I think makes it like you do, if they don't have instant speed interaction, you do get to at least do the thing.
But you know what does do its thing right away?
What do we got? What does its thing right away?
Evacuation. Again with the 7th
thing instantly.
Again with the Black Border 7th edition. Yeah, look at the 71
bucks. I was gonna say,
yeah.
Well, that's because that's a black bordered. That's a foil.
This is a black bordered foil 7th edition card that's played in EDH. Evac is good.
Yeah. So black bordered. Fine point to talk about black bordered foils from 7th edition. So, like, one of the there's a couple things going on here with 7th edition in particular. First is that 7th edition had a, like, I'd say it's a gimmick, but it was also it is half a gimmick and half a tool to allow them to change the way that they were doing royalties on reprints of cards and control of not just royalties, but control of reprints of cards.
Yeah, one of their reprint policies at the point was the reprints had to be white border. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, not just that. It was specifically that there were some older pieces of art that like the contracts on like using the art weren't fully in control of Wizards. They had to like they didn't have it at, also, so they in 7th edition every card in 7th edition has new art.
Yeah, that was one of the things
as part of it. The white bordered bit was that they wanted just the core set, the reprint sets were always white bordered, with the side effect of, or with the side thing of, a first print of a card had to be in black border in like a language. Mm-hmm. And the printing process at the time for foils didn't allow for white bordered foils. So that's how you got black bordered foils. And the foiling in older sets doesn't take out a common slot. It takes out a slot of the rarity of the card. So in order to open a foil evacuation, that had to replace your rare. This means that 7th edition foils are very pricey for like if you pull up birds. If you pull, that's a good one too. Like
this Shivan Dragon to me is
yes.
I think 7th edition Shivan Dragon is people think of these days when they think of Shivan Dragon. Like,
There,
they're not even. There's
there's
not
not
even
a
one,
listed price.
not a listed price
Yeah.
here for now. Let's try birds.
So yeah, Birds of Paradise, which 7th edition birds.
Yeah.
That is not a, that's legitimate.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a rare card.
that's the number of extant foil 7th ed Birds of Paradise may be a lower number than the extant number of like power from Alpha. Like, that's real.
You can learn more.
Based on in a yeah.
Good
Thank you for pulling up the
Ristic Studies video.
yeah, most of the information I'm citing here comes from this specific this video. Sorry, a combination of this video and the foiling video that
Yeah, that was it.
Sam has as well.
What do you call it? Glimmer?
Yeah,
it's a
it's
Glimmer,
yeah, because that's more of the information about like the early foiling process.
Evacuation. Pretty classic card. It
Yeah.
Stronghold, it made more sense because there was a war happening.
Yep.
And then you've got like an airship guy here.
Right, where we're like, leaving in a flood, and we got that's a balloon.
That's a balloon.
That's a hot air balloon.
Yeah, hot air balloon.
This is the fair version of a lot of similar cards that aren't that don't play as fair cards. The one that there's I'm thinking of return all permanents.
Oh yeah. It's not evac, but
why is the name of that?
yeah, why is that
Mind.
iconic card
Upheaval.
Upheaval? Yeah. I can think of the art. I can think of the Kev Walker art on up. I'll never.
Yeah.
Also, Odyssey, baby.
Also Odyssey. But evac is like playing a fairer game than that by hitting just creatures. It's hitting both players.
Very powerful at instant speed. This card holds up. Whereas this card is blatantly unfair because what you do is like.
There's a reason it's banned in EDH.
Yeah, well, EDH is the format where the thing you do in Cube with this is you cast it, then you go Island, Soul Ring, Signet, go. You do that in Commander too, so not a fair spell. Whereas this is just a backbreaking card.
Yeah, and like it gives a deck that usually doesn't have easy access to a board wipe that is kind of correct for the color.
Yeah, like this might have been like the first way blue had to deal with like a large number of creatures.
Yeah, like without having to go to like a Dev's disc or something.
Yeah, Devon Rules disc, or like just bouncing everything with over time with a waterfront bouncer. But
yeah, these days we have you can see this isn't Pioneer legal. It hasn't been reprinted in some time.
Yeah, it's
you pulled up Etherize as a
one. There's a fair number of things that are like this. Return Toughness Islands. What is this one called?
I'll also just mention, Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah, Cyclonic Rift. This
the
stupid card.
The messed up version of it.
Yeah, there's Spectral Deluge and Engulf the Shore that both do this, which is Islands. This one you can foretell. This one only targets your opponent's stuff. And Cyclonic Rift costs like $40 to $60 just because of its because of Commander, and also because it has like a very reasonable like front half.
Yeah, I was saying this card. We talked a little bit about Boomerang. This is just Disperse on its front.
Yeah, it's just like this is Disperse, and then you can also pay mana to win the game. But evac, like, there's not a lot more to say about it. A classic card that holds up and is still played today. And it's cool.
A lot of respect on evac's name in my mind.
The one that comes to mind for me first is Doomed Necromancer. or absorb. Like somewhere in this zone. I think planes wins pretty handedly.
Yeah, I think I'm a little lower on it personally, but not much. Like I think
Like
I have it
disrupting
probably.
scepter.
Yeah, I have it more compared to like omnivorous flytrap omnath in my head. But I can I absolutely understand having it higher than that.
Which Omnath is this again? Locus of Mana?
This is the
Okay, yeah.
original Omnath. This is the Omnath I think is like. I think of this as the cool Omnath, not the busted Omnath.
Yeah. Or the lame one that has the Phyrexian Mana one.
Yeah. But like, you know, I can see higher than that too. That's just where I'm at my end.
I agree with well. I'm willing to. What do you think? How do you compare it to Flytrap? Is like I guess the first question.
I think I like it more than Flytrap.
Okay, how about
below Disrupting Scepter?
Yeah, below Disrupting Scepter. That's about where I would put it. Seems good to me.
Yeah. Like it's a hell of a card.
It's a card that has a really high win after resolving rate, which is you can't always trust, as we know. Not all of it. Oftentimes,
a lot of when you see like the win rate on a card, and it's like, wow, games where this card resolves, you win 80% of the time. It's because you don't cast it when you're losing.
You know, what card has a really high wins above replacement though? It's Griffin Sentinel.
This might be the most neutral war card in existence. Like this might be like. This might have wins above replacement 0. Just like just like it is.
This is
line.
This is your. You called this guy up out of the minors to play shortstop, and he is here for you.
Yep, Griffin Sentinel will play baseball. Will field. Will bat.
Yeah, he's a switch hitter. He can bat left or right, but be warned, he does hit 240.
Yeah, he hits right, slightly under the Mendoza line, which is not like low enough for you to be like super worried, but like the most 23rd card ever 23rd. This is the most 23rd card ever 23rd.
I think it's better than Colossal Plow.
What do you think of it compared to Garenbrig Carver? Because I think that's you were talking about that as like a 23rd card to 23rd.
Garenbrig Carver kind of has built-in card advantage, but this has flying.
Yeah, this has evasion and attacks and blocks. I'm gonna get there 1 damage at a time. It's true.
Did these sets have like Flying Lords?
Core 2020, I think, is the one that has that bird that's like Flying Lord. I think that's Core 2020. I think like the one that's in that was more recently printed in Foundation, the blue white one, like 2/3 that pumps your
Garenbrig Carver. I'm willing to put flying above Garenbrig Carver.
Yeah.
Well, that means that Griffin Sentinel gets its greatest distinction of its career.
And
it's being number 69, Griffin Sentinel.
Very nice.
Nice.
This like, if I was asked to produce the most neutral card, you know, like not bad, not good, just extant.
Yeah, this guy would definitely be in the MTGO mono white practice deck that they used to Moto would let you like sign in without an account, and they would put you in like practice queues with precons. I played that sometimes just to reacquaint myself with Moto controls. And this is definitely the kind of card that would show up in the Moto practice queues.
Yeah. I think we can find something with higher.
Yeah, we got a few more on the docket because we're at 155 right now, so we can talk about maybe 1 to 3 more cards depending on how long we talk about Ghostly Changeling. This card and
this is pulling a lot of weight on Changeling because
these two guys have a specific use, and it is, I believe, this guy's his name, Hack-On, yeah.
Hack-On. They had a lot of uses in the world of Changelings. These were the original glue of us. Like, so Lorwyn is a set that has 8 different major creature types it cares about.
Yeah, giants, like first you have like the creature type, then you have like the job types. Like you have elves, and later you have warriors and soldiers.
So like so these were the cards that like in your limited decks and in some constructed decks pulled those decks together so that they could function.
Let's just search for
unemployed vampire.
Search for Lorwyn cards that say control elf to see what kind of cards wants you to control an elf. Like these things.
You have like you have a counting the number of elves you control, pumping your elves.
You need a champion an elf. Each wolf you control has death touch, which
right.
So like this kind of things. This card, an elf card. There were lots of these kinds of things. And they wanted you to control them. And then the changelings, a lot of them were kind of like this guy, or this guy is a slightly underrated shade.
Yep.
Some of them were not.
Yeah, so the ones at highest rarity, Mirror Entity, Chameleon Colossus, Taurian
Mauler. Tarian or just Taran?
I think it's Tar-N with an E. Like Tar-N.
Tarian Mauler. Mauler. Yeah, this guy. These guys were above rate, and probably Chameleon Colossus probably played the most outside of formats, just as like pound for pound for its weight, whereas this one more played for activating it for 0.
Yeah, there were some times you saw Kithkin decks playing this card like
it's just like
legitimate.
If you pay 4, you turn your guys into 4/4s.
And it was their base power, so like any
like your
Wizened Sens?
Yeah, Wizened Sen.
Wizened Sen.
Or is it Sen with a C?
C and 2 N's.
Because I think of Sen's Enlistment, and that's where I remember.
Yeah. But
nah.
I like Wizened Sen.
So this kind of a little underrated for an uncommon. I think Skeletal Changeling's probably a little better. There are infinite combos you can do with
and this is technology we kept using. We used this in Kaldheim. We used this in one of the Modern Horizons. We used this in
that's Modern Horizon 1.
Yeah, Modern Horizons 1 because Modern Horizons 1 had the 1/1 unblockable one that was like a ninja.
Yeah, and it also had wait, it didn't? I was for sure it had Nameless Inversion. Or did it have the
Modern Horizons 1 had a thing where it didn't have reprints. It was all new cards to Modern, so this couldn't be in it.
I remember this, but okay, then I'm thinking of Modern Masters, because Modern Masters had the
2015 had the on the right there's the Modern Masters 2015.
Yeah, I was thinking of Modern Masters that had this, but
yes.
What do we think of this guy?
If Griffin Sentinel is the most 23rd card every 23rd, this is like 18. Like this is fine.
This guy's fine. If you've got cards that care about, like if you're in black, this would be like an elemental / elf deck, probably.
This is an elf. Well, this is elf. It could be a goblin.
It could be a goblin.
It could be a rogue.
Could be a
it
rogue.
Could be a rogue.
It depends on like how many of the sets you're drafting. Yeah, if you're doing like Shadow, if you're doing Lorwyn and Morning Tide.
Yeah,
not Morning Tide.
It could. It was Morning Tide.
It was Morning Tide. I always mix them up because they all sound the same.
Yeah. But no, this is like, and changeling as a mechanic is held.
Yeah,
like,
this is a good mechanic. They keyworded our old guy, the guy who used to be the butt of the joke of oh, Misform Ultimus does not have changeling. It is every creature type.
Even if this card isn't in play.
Which I think also counts for these.
Yes, that's also true of these. that wording is on there because that card, the Misform Ultimus you're looking at here, is its last reprint in Time Spiral,
yeah.
which predates.
I'm strange that the Oracle text says that, because they changed the Oracle text on Imri to have affinity for artifacts.
I'm guessing it's just something they haven't like, because the card's never been reprinted, it hasn't been touched.
So yeah, plus it's Misform Ultimus. It's a hill giant.
Right. Like here's the thing. There's a better version of that. You had your deck.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Orvar the all form. Yeah.
The all form is literally Mistform Ultimus with text.
Overt floral
right,
harm. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, that's the exact body of Mistform Ultimus, but it does something. So.
I also made this deck because I wanted to put retraced image in a deck, and I ended up cutting it because retraced image was bad. If you don't know what retraced image does, you are not to be blamed.
No, that's not a.
Yeah.
This one's very funny. It's just
trying to play this in Commander in particular is a bit of a challenge. Usually you put an island into play with this.
There's some kind of funky older cards that like just are completely lost to time because of the rise of Commander, where they just don't work in the format.
Mm-hmm.
But
Ghostly Changeling.
You know, okay, I'm feeling pretty good on Ghostly Changeling.
How's it compared to Woolly Spider? They're kind of comparable bodies.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because this card's from Ice Age and this card's from Morrowind.
Are we treated our changelings pretty like reined in outside of the rares? Like for bodies? Like, as you said,
yeah.
like this is like a worse shade. Obviously Chameleon Colossus did some.
What was this guy's name?
Amiiboid.
Yeah.
Changeling.
Can't be a form as some Amiiboid. This guy.
Yes. Yeah. Amiiboid Changeling, which was, 2-mana 1/1 that was the biggest combat trick in the universe, even though it doesn't read like it.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have slightly above Woolly Spider?
Doomscar? Wall of Mulch?
Because I feel like I'm feeling a little bit higher, like around the Wall of Mulch area, just because I think like
this is better in limited than Wall of Mulch.
Yeah,
but only really in limit, because really the skeletal changeling is like the more back-on combo card because it's cheaper.
I don't think it's much better than Woolly Spider. But
okay, how much better is it? Better than Soulsworn Jury to you?
I don't think so.
Okay, so we're worse than Soulsworn Jury. I think I like Wall of Mulch better, so I'll put it above Doomscar.
Okay. We can put it below Doomscar. Yeah, we put it above Doomscar.
Yeah. This is it says random ghostly changeling. I was thinking shadowy changeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that put us at for number right now? We're at...
we're 83.
All right, we can do a couple more and get this to a little bit more round of a...
Let's get to 85. How about that?
That sounds good.
Okay. This one is definitely a combo with Hack On Scourge or whatever.
Stromgald Surge.
Yeah, this is definitely a... You know what? Maybe.
Okay. We're talking about an archetype of a card. We're talking about
I think Necromancy might. Yeah, Visions.
Yeah.
So like the idea of the instant speed get the
Instant
guy
speed
back is
reanimate.
older, but
yeah, not by much. This is
Corpse Dance.
Corpse Dance, one of the last cards with the Graveyard Order.
It's like this and what was Spinning Darkness? Weatherlight.
Weatherlight, which makes it slightly
like around
later.
the same time, yeah.
Yeah, because it's Tempest, Weatherlight, Exodus.
Like
so
this is another one that gets played. Oh, this one only 50 cents. Corpse Dance.
Yeah, Corpse Dance. You can even see that this is a like, for one, it's a reserve list card. But like
Tempest.
Yeah. The thing that makes this slightly different than Necromancy is like instant speed reanimation.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give it the combat speed.
Yeah.
Corpse Dance gives it haste.
Yeah, it gives
it. You know, this is the card. So, like Corpse Dance has the line that goes to Goryo's Vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Necromancy has the line that goes to like, Makeshift Mannequin. Maybe would be the
I
line
guess
I'd put
I never
towards.
really understood the substance part.
You usually weren't using
Because
this
if you
in-
substance out the Necromancy, you only get the guy until the end of the turn. So I guess you blocked with them.
You were using. Well, this was also Visions is where we invent or start using like come into play effect.
Yeah, so like you were just getting the,
So, like-
the ETB trigger.
Yeah. But yeah, Corpse Dance is a card with a lineage, and it's also a card with some weird stuff going on.
This was one of the early, not the earliest, Black Haste cards. I will always remember this guy.
Yep, our Spirit of the Night who lives in the previous block. God.
First strike as long as it's attacking. Pro Black. But obviously, Corpse Dance is really powerful. It has a hateful keyword.
Does have a hateful. It has this is a card that has a lot of like different if we're putting it on the scales are wildly vacillating because it's like we have a card with like this kind of like storied lineage of a type of card we keep seeing that is like deck defining. Corpse Dance, Goryo's Vengeance, things like that. And then we have like Buyback and Graveyard Order also on the card, which are like
some hateful cards with Buyback.
Yeah. Buyback, a mechanic from Tempest here that is like almost by design the antithesis of fun because
repeated game actions.
You never stop doing the same thing. You will always be like what am I doing? I'm just always doing the Buyback card, and there's so few ways to interact with the Buyback card.
Was Brush with Death ever a control finisher? You're paying 7 mana to cast Brush with Death every turn.
I think at that point you're casting Capsize with Buyback.
Yeah, you're doing that instead.
Yeah,
they did try to bring it back in Time Spiral.
There's a couple cards that they did bring it back with that.
No, this is what they did instead. Evan Carr's Justice. Yeah.
Honest to God, I think they actually just did Capsize until you have no permanents left.
That's what they did. I know. Evan Carr's Justice is played in Pauper as like that, where you just get ahead
Yes,
in life
because-
total and either crypt rats them out or cast Evankar's Justice over and over again.
It also gives you a sweeper, which is a harder thing to come by. But yeah, like, you can see some of the some of the more modern. Oh God, you want to? Oh,
Here's a good one. Love
See,
the art
Walk
on
the
Walk
Aeons-
Aeons. Yeah.
Yeah, Walk the Aeons has like a cool buyback that asks you to do something gnarly to keep doing it.
Whispers of the Muse does nothing. Actually, Whim of Volrath and Mind Games, both central cards in Overt Floral Harm. Because they let you touch a creature every turn, which
They buy back.
actually they let you.
Like,
They also let you
poke.
touch a land every turn, which Orvar doesn't care what type it is. He just makes a copy no matter what. So buyback becomes 3 mana. Produce an island.
Produce on an island. Okay.
But
So,
buyback
yeah,
evil mechanic. Corpse Dance. What do we think of Corpse Dance? This card probably not bought back very often, honestly.
No, in a lot of worlds where you're doing, especially like one of the things about like the repeated game state machine that is buyback. This card has a built-in lever against that by being A, top, creature your graveyard, and B, exile.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to like circumvent that if you want to do a repeated loop. But also, usually if you're doing this, it's not repeated.
Yeah, you just doing it once or twice is enough to win. These cards lack the. I don't even know if Goryo's does this.
I think Goryo's has
Exile.
yeah.
Okay. Sometimes these effects nowadays they'll make it so that if the creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead.
Yeah.
So if you have
like, to
another
make
sack
sure,
outlet,
can't sack.
you can keep doing it. Which Goryo's most decks have done that before, where like
Yeah.
you use Asmo to make the thing deal damage to itself to kill itself.
Oh wow, this was in Duskmourn Commander as its last print. I didn't. That's a what? I see.
Mm-hmm. Corpse Dance. This card's very
Corpse
cool.
Dance. Yeah, I'm like, okay. Because like my first thought is like, I think this is above Doom Necromancer
Yeah,
in my mind.
I'm
So,
willing to
like-
put it like around here.
Yeah.
How is Corpse Dance compared to Planes?
I think it's worse than Plains, and maybe it's better than Glacial Fortress.
I like it better than Glacial Fortress. I kind of like it better than Sword of the
Better than
Meek,
Plane?
but
Okay.
I'm willing to
Maybe-
acquiesce to putting it below Planes.
What if, well, okay, so I agree with you there because I think it's more than like better than Sword of the Meek. Oh no, we're gonna.
Is it cooler
one of
than
these
Sword of
worlds.
the Meek, though? Because this card does have a lot of baggage.
Yeah, that was the reason I was thinking of it worse than Plains. I think that like
Planes is not
It's
a
funny
card
'cause-
with baggage.
it's funny because the other one we keep talking about, Goryo's Vengeance, also has a silly, like not baggage, but it has Splice on the Arcane,
Yeah, Splice and Arcane.
which is like, yeah, sure.
hey,
Like, yeah,
that's
sure,
come
go
up before.
It has. That was a block constructed thing you might be doing.
I'll put it above Glacial Fortress,
Okay.
below
Okay.
Plains.
It's certainly like up. It's certainly up here.
It's also just a good name for a spell. It's a good name for a spell and a good name for
Yeah.
this effect.
I would say for the effect, I like it a lot. Where it like the Corpse Dance being a temporary revival feels right.
Also, probably named this card. What a weird
Yeah.
card.
This one's cool as hell. The like swap from grave to play,
Mm-hmm.
or swap from grave to hand.
Yeah, so you put one in, you through the breach plus Corpse Dance, kind
Corpse
of.
Dance. But the corpse dance creature goes to your hand,
and then
the through the breach creature goes to the grave.
It's so cool.
You know, it's funny. It is funny that we also have, like, through the breach, the sneak attack card we're talking about, also splice. Like,
also splice. Also, that's come up before. You know what hasn't come up before?
What has never come up?
Hungry heifer. Now,
you know what?
We have to make a decision of how we handle silver border cards now.
I kind of feel like these are so tangential as to be
like, do we just do this?
Difficult to
like. Do we just start?
I think that might. I think that might be. I think we might have every silver bordered, like.
Yeah.
I think I agree with this because they're like, for basically like, for how this works, they're all
like, some of them are going to be cards that can be played in formats. I guess we'll have to start checking for the stupid acorn whenever we get to the newest ones to actually tell if the card is a playable card or not.
This one's hilarious because if you don't look at the design on Hungry Heifer
this is just a card that could exist.
This is a card in Magic the Gathering at this point.
Yeah, oh my God. This card in particular we could probably put on the list because there's probably a thing similar to it.
Yeah, I think as a rule we probably just put silver bordered cards on their own, which is currently the best silver bordered card ever printed.
What do you think about Hungry Heifer as a card, though? Like, it's
so reading this now, like, you can play this with, like, the fact that it's so versatile means that, like, with a saga, you can
return green. I think I just put green and then protect creature. There's things that are kind of like this, but I'm not fine. There's like a green guy that's like, at the beginning of your upkeep, it doesn't say sacrifice. It's like return a green creature.
Oh, you're thinking of starts with an S. Stamping Zero. Yeah, there it is.
No, this style of effect has existed before, and some of them are better costed than this one.
Yeah, like, green card with a drawback that, like, this one won't kill itself, but it will bounce itself. So, but
what's this card actually called? Not Rampaging Elephant. One green elephant 3/3 rogue elephant. Yeah.
Rogue elephant.
The drawback green used to be, it happens every once in a while, but more commonly older like this. Species Scourger. Yeah. So this guy it's not funny. This is not
funny. That's the joke here is, like, so there's a couple jokes here. One is that this card's flavor text exists to continue a run of single word 4-letter flavor texts that was going on for about 5 sets running or something like that around the Printing Run Glued, which is a joke nobody will know about and nobody will remember. Barely counts as a joke, but it is a piece of the card. It's also much more of a, like, mechanical thing. I don't know. The joke is it's a cow?
The joke that it's a cow, and
sorry, I at least have a funny, like, fact about this card with the flavor text.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have told you that. The cow, it's not that funny of a card. Like, the illustration, it's just a cow who ate some things. It doesn't remind me of Hungry Hippos at all, which is what the name is riffing off of.
Right. It is hilarious to me that, like, if this card was printed in a more modern setting, like, it would all of a sudden be, like, a thing you could play with, like, sagas or, like, you know, drawback counters.
Or maybe this would be a set with -1/-1 counters, maybe, like your Chainbreaker style effects.
If you want funny cows, going to a Far Side Cow Tools comic is a great way to get to funny.
Yeah.
It is breaking the border. Like you can
Yeah,
see the horns are actually breaking out of the.
Yeah, it's just the chair. I don't know.
Well, it's the best silver bordered card.
It's the best silver bordered card. So what can I say? We were right. This card's never come up before. But what card that has come up is barbed wire.
Are we sure about that? Okay, so.
Okay.
At the beginning of each player's upkeep, deal 1 damage to that player. 2. Prevent the next damage that would be dealt by barbed wire.
By this artifact.
Yeah, by.
Very funny. This is from like Masks. But
so this is a card that like has multiple cards around it, like the Mongers and some of the like prophecy cards that you would expect this.
You would expect this to be a prophecy card, but it's a mask card. So if this were a prophecy card, it would be 10 times worse because it would say any player may activate this ability.
Any player they may activate this effect, and it would be the worst.
Tangle wire. This is not.
Oh wow. Telemtor's darts.
Yeah. Okay, I
right?
guess if you're playing a creature, if you're playing a creatureless control deck,
this
you would just
Telemtor's darts so Telemtor's darts is just like ping 1.
Learn was this is Tempest. Could you just be playing Millstone at this time?
Because like. The thing with this card, too, is that, like, it hits both players and you have to throw 2 lands down to keep it from pinging you.
Or you just have to have a higher life total.
Yeah, I'm coming back to Telemtor's darts, which is not a good card,
yeah, Telemtor's...
like,
I forget if Telemtor is one word or not. That's what.
Yeah, you got it. This does the same thing, where you put down 2 mana and your opponent takes...
well, people laughed at his darts once. Telemtor has a history of bad cards, but this one at least you would use it to exile your own Blood Moon so that your Dark Depths would realize it had no counters on it. But
this has some funny combos with it. But yeah, it's I don't know. Wow, color me so incredibly unimpressed by barbed wire here. We're
I'm willing to call it better than Titania's Boon. This card will eventually win the game. Titania's Boon will not. But I'm also going to say it's worse than Imperial Outrider.
Yeah, I know. I'm certain it's worse than Imperial Outrider. Like, Imperial Outrider will also maybe get your opponent dead in 20 turns.
Eventually, yeah. And can block, whereas this card can't block.
Yeah, what if Griffin Sentinel couldn't block and also tap 2 of your lands?
But it's an artifact. It's an artifact, gents.
Yes. I think this might be worse than Titania's Boon.
Okay, this card is better than Stabilizer because it actually does something.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think we're getting to the bottom. I'm just pull Titania's Boon again. Come on. I
don't blame you for not committing the text of Titania's Boon.
I remember the +1/+1 counter. I'm just thinking about like the holistic everything here, and now I'm remembering the
weird proportions on his centaur legs.
Coming back to the weird proportion on the centaur legs. Okay,
and like the lazy background.
I think I'm back with you now. I had to take in the card again to fully immerse myself.
This is at least some sicko Ron Spencer art.
True. That's
It's got blood on it.
Okay.
And like it's hard to tell if that's just blood or his robe being ripped to shreds. This is this guy taking 1 damage.
That's 1 damage.
This is what 1 damage looks like. And also he's being shot at by flaming arrows, but I guess that's incidental.
Yeah, I'll go with above Titania's Boon after taking things back in. The text on Titania's Boon I do recall, but it was like needing to go back to that art and then remembering the legs there.
Okay, we got to 85.
We found another card to throw down here.
Barbed wire. I'm a little more. I don't feel as revulsed by barbed wire as you, but it's still bad. I don't feel good. I have a soft spot for like win conless creatureless control decks where like you're playing one card exactly that you can just kind of leave and play and it'll eventually win. But you probably had better like if this was this was masks in standard with a grindstone. Those sets together, like I don't remember the order of the sets very well.
No, Tempest, then Urza's block, then Mask's block, so it would have rotated.
Yeah. So, like this card, this card's for champions.
Yeah, that card is for winners.
This card is it's still $5.
That's still $5. It's $5.
We're making a run on barbed wire, everyone.
That's right, everybody. It's not on the reserve list.
Making a run on it. We're going to drive up the price of barbed wire. Each upkeep, it scales well in Commander. Because you only take one damage when it deals 5.
and it has politics.
It has.
Be like, you know what? I'll pay. I can pay the 2, and you don't take the damage if you help me. You know? I could help. I could. You know, I'll make sure you don't take the damage.
This is for your Zerta deck.
Cost 1. This is for your No, you know who this is for? It's for your Obnix.
Right? Which Obnix one?
When opponents lose exactly 1 life. The creature, Kingpin.
Yeah, Kingpin.
Yeah, see?
Let's go, baby. Let's go, Mets.
Yeah, we found it.
Love the Mets.
That's right, Obnix plus the barbed wire. Obnix is going to come at you with the barbed wire. People don't remember when Obnix threw Elspeth through
I remember Obnix v Elspeth Hell in a Cell. You can't. I remember when that happened. Or because we actually called it Heck in a Sec.
85 cards.
We have sheet 1, sheet 2, and copy of sheet 2. That's 3. Hungry after. Okay. The basics will go on here though. The silver bordered basics, because everybody loves the silver bordered basics.
Yeah, those are because those aren't even silver bordered. They're still black bordered. Cards,
I think the unglued ones are silver bordered.
I'm pretty sure none of them are, because they still need to be like legal in.
Because I remember them being mostly because I remember them being ugly. Oh, okay, I guess not.
Yeah, they have a weird border.
Yeah, they have a weird border, but hey, they got a nice tap symbol on them.
Yeah. Christopher
Rush. We're up to 85. We're going to get there. They haven't printed any new Magic cards since the last time we've done this. We are catching up.
It's true. No new Magic cards have been printed since the last time we were adding things, so, you know.
So we'll eventually get there. You know, we had multiple entries up here.
I'm happy about finding Boomerang. We had Boomerang
Corpse Dance. And like Evac and them down here. Yeah. Corpse Dance. And it feels good to have Ultimate Price off the top 10, because Ultimate Price is good. It does not feel like a top 10 Magic card.
Yeah, it's not even like the best of this style.
Yeah, that's probably. Well, okay. Go for the throat, maybe. What's the one that's non-legendary?
Go for the throat and Ultimate Price and
Cast Down.
Cast
Down like might be like one of the better of these.
Yeah, I think of Go for the Throat as like I think the best of them, just because it tends to hit the most.
It tends to hit everything. And then if you're willing to pay a little bit of life, there's the one that just destroy target creature. You lose some life. What is that?
Yeah.
Reach of whatever.
Starts with a B. Because that has like pay life or discard a card.
No. It's just like destroy target creature. You lose. Destroy.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the one that has like a discard outlet on it.
You lose.
Not bitter end.
Infernal Grasp.
Infernal Grasp, yeah. Not Vendetta.
Not Vendetta.
Infernal Grasp. The one I'm thinking of is the
bone shards. So this type of it's a bone shards that kind of does this, but
because it's one that has like because bone shards is a really 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 good version of this because it has discard a card. I'm thinking of God, I can picture it. I think it's like Bitter Triumph?
Bitter Triumph sounds right. And it is Bitter
Triumph.
Yeah,
thank you. All right. Because this is discard a card or pay 3 life.
Bad card. Not good. I mean, it's very good and limited just because it's, this.
I like it as another discard outlet.
Yeah, but even
it's a worse
doing that,
version.
then like the Bone Shards is like way better, but
I know.
They've printed enough of these where I don't think you have to play Bitter Triumph anymore. I guess that Bitter Triumph's one up over these is that it's an instant. That does matter.
Yeah. And it like I think of the two cards as like a pair if you're doing a thing like a cube that cares about them. You can just have both. Because those are kind of the two that do that.
I want to knock Glacial Fortress off next time.
If we can find another card that like can we find something that like hits that like Slaughter Pact Sword of the Meek? Hell,
Forest.
What if we find like Forest?
Yeah, if we find Forest. Or Swamp. I think Swamp would get there too. Although I cannot in my heart at this knowing what I know about Magic at this exact moment, I can't put Swamp over Plains. Maybe I should, because more stuff interacts with Swamp than interacts with Plains. But I think Swamp has less going for it than Plains does right now.
My random card came up Peace Strider.
It's Peace Strider, everybody.
Peace Strider. Peace.
Peace Strider. All right. Well.
All right.
That's Magic cards for now. What are you doing? You're doing more.
Nothing tomorrow. I'm out.
You're out tomorrow.
Yep. So it'll be back to like Battle Network on Sunday and Trails on Monday.
Trails.
We got new Magic coming out in a couple weeks.
God, already?
They're printing a couple cards. Yeah, Gilgamesh. You know, they're printing Gilgamesh and like a couple cards to go with Gilgamesh. Like they're if you look at Self-Destruct, I'm sure that's in the like there's a couple like themed cards around Gilgamesh that they're printing. It's fun. It's a little Gilgamesh set. It's also a pretty good card.
It's a pretty okay card.
It's
it should be Azumalakia doing it, and not Gilgamesh. Although still Gilgamesh does kill Necrophobe with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, so they're printing a couple cards. They're printing a couple.
Well, we're gonna lose some of our lead. But tomorrow's Baroque with Kaz. We're gonna be more face scraping adventures because Baroque with Kaz tomorrow, and then on Sunday, want to be starting.
You're starting. Lucid.
No, I'm going to be starting Labyrinth of the Demon King. That game came out.
Ooh.
Which,
okay.
When I've been following that game's development kind of loosely for years, and what really surprised me about the demo was the fact that it's a condemned criminal origins. It is a game about wandering around in spooky areas, getting into first-person brawling with weird men.
Ooh,
you have a kick button.
That's a rarity of a title right there. Yeah. Like you've got like
because like people call it like, oh, it's a Kingsfield, like, oh, it's like Silent Hill. No, it is condemned criminal origins. Only instead of eating birds, there's yokai.
Or it wasn't Breakdown.
Breakdown was a first-person shooter. That was like
No. I'm thinking of, because I'm not thinking of Crackdown. I'm like, I thought Breakdown was the one that was like a first-person brawler. Where you have like combo.
I think it did have brawling in it.
Like it also was guns. So
this guy did a video on it. This game, a weird ass game, Breakdown. Let's look at this random YouTube video. It's like time travel in it, and it is about punching, but you also have a gun.
Okay, so yeah, never mind. That's not as.
Let me see if I can find.
That's not as Condemned Criminal Origins then.
See if I can find you with a gun here. Yeah, see, look, he's holding the gun.
Okay, yeah, you got a gun.
This is a weird ass game though, and it is a. I'm surprised that you pulled this from the depths of your mind.
So sometimes like a lot of weird stuff, you know.
Hey, at this point, Condemned Criminal Origins is kind of a bull. So
yeah.
Labyrinth of the Demon King on Sunday. Might have Z-Ace around for that. And I do need to play Sword of Moonlight Lunacid as well. That might be... I don't know. I have too much stuff to play. I had like not enough to play. Yeah. Now I have too much. I'm also playing Bloodborne. It'll happen. I don't know. Come for Baroque tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Good night.